Testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. Today we are going to learn how to use the cloning tool. So the first thing you need to do is you need to open up your image. Your image is going to be in Google Classroom, so you're going to want to download it from Google Classroom, and you're going to want to save it in your documents. Create a folder called Practice Images, and that's where you want to save it. You're going to be putting a variety of different images throughout the semester into that folder called Practice Images. It's called Telephone Pole. That's the name of the image that you're going to be getting. It's called Telephone Pole, and I'm getting it from a place where I've saved it. So I'm going to go into my Clone Tool Practice, Telephone Pole. I'm going to go ahead and open it. All right, so what we're going to do in this image is we're going to duplicate it. So we're going to come over here and we're going to, using our mouse, we're going to highlight the background, and we are going to right click using our mouse, and we're going to click Duplicate Layer, and we're going to call this Practice. And on this practice layer is where we're going to do our cloning. You can turn it on and off to see how you have advanced. All right, so now we're going to use our cloning tool. And the purpose is we're going to clone some of these birds, and we're also going to remove this bottom telephone line so that we have only 2 telephone wires, and we're going to add a few more birds. Okay? So that is the end goal, is to remove this bottom telephone wire right here that goes across, and so it's in the middle. We're going to just remove this middle telephone wire, and we're going to clone a couple of these birds and duplicate them. All right? So in order to do this, we need to use a tool. It's right here on our toolbar. It's called the cloning tool, and it looks like a little stamp tool. Okay? And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tools down, and it looks like a little stamp. You want to make sure you select Clone Stamp Tool. All right? So that is the tool you have selected. You will notice that it makes kind of a circle shape. Well, we want to adjust the shape of this so that it's much smaller. So we're going to come over here and we are going to move it, slide this down a little bit so it's a little bit smaller. Probably about 25 px is fine. Okay. All right, so we're going to put it right. Let's start on our left and we'll move to the right. Okay, so we're going to start down here, and what we're going to do is we're going to hold down the Alt key on our keyboard, and it makes this bullseye. And as you hold down that Alt key, you are going to click the mouse, and it's going to be the left click. Okay, you're going to left click your mouse, and what happens is it selects, using the bullseye, it selects what is below, the blue that is below this telephone wire. We also want to adjust our opacity. So we're going to come along here to our horizontal toolbar, and we are going to select 50% so that we are doing it at a 50% rate. Okay, so it is going to start to remove this line, but it's not going to be at 100%. I'll show you what it looks like when it's at 100%, but first we'll start with 50. So we're going to hold down the Alt. It makes a bullseye. We're going to left click just slightly below the line. And what it's doing is it's selecting that blue. So now what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start clicking. Do you notice that little plus sign that's to the right of it? What is in that plus sign is being cloned. So I'm going to come a little bit lower. I'm going to bring my bullseye slightly lower. I'm going to left click, and I'm going to release my Alt, and you see that little plus sign. So what's in that little plus sign is being cloned, okay? And we want to make sure that there's no lines going anywhere. You just want to see this line disappearing, okay? We don't want any lines. You see how there's a line right there? If I were to click that, it would make a line there, and we don't want that, okay? We don't want any lines below. We just want to get rid of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo that. So I'm going to come over here to Edit, Undo, Clone Stamp, and it'll get rid of that little line there. Again, I'm going to click on the Alt, select, left click on my mouse, and you see that little plus sign? What's in the plus sign is being duplicated over this line. Now, if I want this to be a little faster, I can move this up to, let's say, 75%. So go ahead and move it up to about 75%, and let's see if it makes it a little faster. Hold this down, left click, and now I'm going to continue going across. You see how that telephone line is starting to disappear? Yep, I'm just going to keep going. You see that little plus sign? Yeah, that little, whatever is in that little plus sign is being pasted over this telephone wire, okay? I could even make this a little faster and make this 100%. You have to be careful. You don't always want to do that, because if you do, sometimes it might do it too fast and then you have to undo it, okay? But right now we've got a nice solid blue sky, so it's pretty even. And so it works pretty well to put this at 100%. So first start at 50%, then go to 75%, and then if you find that it's working pretty well, then you can put it up to 100%. Okay. So, and you see that I'm probably about an inch below that line, and be really careful when you go around the end of the bird here. You don't want to accidentally clone into that bird's tail. And then we're going to keep going. Okay, so now I need to move this over a little bit, select it from here, and then continue. Oh, it's starting to make kind of like a white circle. I don't like that, so I'm going to Edit, Undo, Edit, step backwards, and Edit, step backwards until I got rid of that little. So that means I need to clone here. I can't clone way out here, otherwise it's going to make this kind of like a white circle. So I need to clone right here, and then bring that up and continue. All right, so that looks pretty good. I don't see any weird blue lines going across. It all looks the same. So now I'm going to clone this bird, and I'm going to make it go right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my brush a little bigger so it fits completely over the bird. All right, and now I'm going to Alt, select, and now I'm going to move it over, and I'm going to line it up on that telephone wire, and I'm going to click, and what do you know? I just added in another bird. You may find that you have to duplicate that again. That's okay. You can Edit, Undo. Okay, just click Alt, and I'm going to move it over, line it up, and I'm going to click it twice. I'm going to click it once, two, just to make it a little darker, 3 times maybe, and then it has the same opacity as that other bird. Now I'm going to clone this bird, and I'm going to move it here. So I'm going to put that right there, right over the bird. I'm going to click Alt. Bullseye is going to be right over the bird. I'm going to left click. And now I'm going to move it over. I'm going to line up those lines. And I'm going to left click once, left click twice, and there you go. So now if we turn it off, that's how it looked when we first started, and now that's how it looks when we're done.